My name is Liana. I'm 28 years old. I used to think my sister and I were close. We were different. She loved expensive clothes and big parties. I preferred quiet nights and focusing on my business. Still, we were sisters. That had to mean something, right? One Thursday afternoon, during a break at work, I was scrolling through social media. That's when I saw it. My sister Melina had posted a flashy invitation for her birthday. The invite said, Melina's luxury birthday bash dress code, diamonds and champagne vibes only. I smiled at first. It looked classy. I assumed my invite would come next. But hours passed. Then a whole day. Still nothing. That evening I called her. No answer. I sent her a message. I asked, "Did you forget to send me the invite?" She replied 5 minutes later. Her words felt like a slap. She wrote, "Liana, this is a high-end event. Only my elegant, classy friends are coming. I don't want to sound rude, but you wouldn't fit the theme. Hope you understand." I stared at the screen in disbelief. My own sister banned me from her party. Just because I didn't match her idea of luxury? Before I could reply, a new message popped up. It said, "Melina has blocked your number." That was it. Blocked. No reason. No apology. I didn't cry. I didn't get angry. I leaned back in my leather chair. I looked out at the city skyline from my office window and smiled. Not because it didn't hurt, but because I knew something she didn't. She thought I didn't belong in luxury. She had no idea she was about to walk into my world. The next morning, I reached my office earlier than usual. My team greeted me like always, but there was something different in the air. I could sense something was about to happen. I made a cup of coffee and sat down to review bookings. I noticed a flagged request. Someone wanted to book our most luxurious event space, the Grand Orchid Ballroom. It was marked as urgent. There was a note from the assistant manager. The note said, "Client is asking for a fast meeting with the owner. Says it's important. She wants to book the ballroom for a birthday party." I raised my eyebrow and called my floor manager, Marcus. He came into my office right away. "Good morning, Liana. There's a woman downstairs who wants to book the ballroom. She says it's a time-sensitive request. She insists on speaking to the owner." I asked, "Did she give her name?" He looked at the clipboard and paused. "Yes, her name is Melina." My heart beat a little faster. Of course it was her. She didn't know I owned this hotel. She didn't know I had built this place from the ground up. While she was out partying, I was building a business. I smiled calmly. "Send her up." Marcus looked surprised. "Are you sure? She seems a bit demanding." I stood up and straightened my blazer. I walked to the window behind my desk and said, "Let's just say I'm ready for this meeting." 5 minutes later, there was a knock at the door. "Come in," I said. The door opened. Melina stepped inside. She looked just like always, fancy clothes, large sunglasses, expensive purse. But the second her eyes saw me, the color drained from her face. She froze. I didn't say anything. I just smiled and waited. She finally spoke. "Liana, what are you doing here?" I leaned forward and said, "You're in my office. The better question is, what are you doing here?" Melina stood still, shocked. Then she walked in slowly. Her voice was soft. "Wait, you work here?" I shook my head. "No, Melina. I don't work here. I own this hotel." She blinked a few times and looked around the room like she couldn't believe it. She whispered, "This is your hotel?" I nodded. "One of them." She stood in silence. Then she started talking quickly. "I didn't mean what I said yesterday," she said. "I was just stressed about the party. I didn't mean to hurt you." I replied, "But you blocked me." She looked down. "That was a mistake. Can we start over?" I stayed calm. She looked perfect on the outside, but I could see it. She was panicking. She needed something from me now. And for once, I had the power. "You want to book the Grand Orchid Ballroom?" I asked. She nodded fast. "Yes. My original venue canceled. I have guests flying in. I need something grand. Your hotel is perfect." I tapped my pen and said, "I see. So, am I still too poor for your party? Or Are poor people allowed now? She looked embarrassed. Liana, I'm sorry. I was wrong. I waited a few seconds, then said, okay, you can have the ballroom. Her face lit up. Thank you. You won't regret this. I raised a finger. But there's one condition. Her smile faltered. What condition? I stood and walked around the desk until I was standing right in front of her. At the party, you're going to tell every single one of your guests exactly what you did. How you banned your own sister because you thought she wasn't good enough. And you'll apologize, publicly. Her jaw dropped. In front of everyone? I nodded. Those are the terms. Take it or leave it. She looked like she might cry, but after a moment she nodded. I'll do it. The day of the party arrived faster than I expected. Our hotel staff had transformed the Grand Orchid Ballroom into a palace of gold and crystal. Chandeliers sparkled overhead, and the floral arrangements alone looked like something out of a royal wedding. I let my team handle everything. After all, we'd done this 100 times before. But this time it was personal. Melina arrived an hour early, looking absolutely perfect on the outside. Her dress shimmered with every step, her makeup was flawless, and her fake smile was turned up to full power. But behind those perfectly drawn lips, I could still see the nerves. We didn't speak much during setup. She was too busy pretending to be in control, greeting guests and giving over-the-top compliments to the rich crowd gathering around her. At exactly 8 p.m., the room dimmed and a spotlight hit the main stage. The music faded, and the MC stepped up to the microphone. Ladies and gentlemen, he announced, before we continue the evening, the birthday girl has something important she'd like to say. Melina hesitated for a heartbeat. I watched her hand tremble slightly as she took the mic and walked to the center of the stage. She cleared her throat. Hi, everyone. I just wanted to take a moment to say thank you for being here tonight. This party means so much to me. She paused, then glanced in my direction. And I owe someone an apology, she said slowly, her voice quieter now. Someone I hurt badly. I judged her unfairly. I insulted her, blocked her, and told her she didn't belong in my world. A few guests looked around, confused. Her voice cracked slightly. But the truth is, she's the reason this party is happening at all. She's the owner of this hotel, the one who gave me this chance, and she's my sister, Liana. The crowd gasped. Heads turned toward me. I stayed seated, but gave a polite nod. I didn't need to say anything. The shock on their faces said it all. Melina stepped back, tears glistening in her eyes. Liana, I'm truly sorry. The silence that followed was heavier than the crystal chandeliers above us. Then, slowly, the audience clapped. Some politely, a few sincerely. And that's when I rose from my chair. I walked to the stage, not out of anger, not to humiliate, but to reclaim my place in the story. The spotlight caught my dress as I climbed the stairs, and I could hear the whispers spreading like wildfire. That's her? She owns this place? She was banned from the party? I reached the mic and smiled. No hard feelings, I said gently. But I do have one announcement. In honor of my sister's birthday, the entire cost of this party has been donated to the Westbridge Children's Hospital in her name. The audience erupted in applause. Melina's jaw dropped. She'd wanted a night of glitz and image. She got a lesson in humility, and I got my piece. After I stepped down from the stage, the mood of the party shifted entirely. Guests who once clustered around Melina for her glamour were now approaching me instead, curious, impressed, and full of compliments. People I'd never met before were shaking my hand, asking about the hotel, and even offering business collaborations. Melina? She was suddenly invisible. I noticed her in the corner, trying to keep up her smile, but the glow was gone. Her rich friends weren't gushing over her anymore. Some of them had even pulled out their phones, quietly Googling my name to confirm what they'd just heard. My assistant, Kara, came over with a glass of sparkling cider and leaned in. So, I guess she finally knows who the real classy one is. I smiled. She knows now. Melina approached me cautiously a few minutes later. Liana, that donation thing? You didn't have to do that. I know, I replied. But I did it anyway, because that's who I am. She nodded slowly, her eyes slightly red. People are saying I was cruel, that I humiliated my own sister for no reason. Did you? She hesitated.
Yes.
I did. She stopped herself and looked down. I've always been jealous. You're quiet, but everything you touch turns to gold. I thought if I could at least outshine you socially, I'd feel better about myself. I didn't speak. There was no need to rub it in. Her truth was heavy enough. I know I probably don't deserve it, she continued, but thank you for letting me have the party here, for not exposing me completely. I looked her in the eyes. This isn't about exposing you. It's about you finally seeing me. All I ever wanted was respect. Not praise. Just respect. She nodded. I see that now. And I'm sorry. I accepted her apology, but I also knew this was a turning point, for her and for me. The dynamic between us had shifted forever. She walked away quietly. No dramatic scene. No more fake smiles. Just silence. And for the first time in years, that silence didn't hurt. The party ended with soft music and quiet farewells. Guests filed out, many stopping by to shake my hand or exchange contact information. A few even whispered things like, "She's lucky to have a sister like you," or "That was the classiest comeback I've ever seen." By the time the last guest left, Melina had already slipped out. No drama, no goodbye.
Just silence again.
But this time it was different. Peaceful. The next morning, I arrived at the hotel early for a scheduled board meeting. Kara handed me a sealed envelope marked with Melina's handwriting. I paused before opening it, unsure of what I'd find. Maybe another apology. Maybe another attempt at an explanation. But inside was a short note, and something else. Liana, I know words can't fix everything, but I want to try. You always believed in building something real, while I chased appearances. I see that now. You earned everything through your own work. I'm stepping away from the spotlight for a while. I need to grow up. But before I go, please accept this. It's small compared to what you've done, but it's genuine. Love, Melina. Taped to the bottom of the note was a stock certificate. My eyes widened. She had transferred her 10% ownership in our family's remaining property investments to me. It wasn't just about the money. It was a gesture of acknowledgement, of respect, of understanding the value of what I stood for. I didn't expect it and I didn't need it, but it meant something. Later that evening, I walked through the hotel's orchid ballroom alone. The crystal chandeliers still sparkled. The room still held echoes of laughter, music, and a long overdue apology. Kara entered quietly behind me. So, what now? I smiled.
Now?
I keep doing what I've always done. Build.
Grow.
And this time, maybe not just for myself. I paused for a moment, looking up at the ceiling. For a long time, I let people define my worth based on silence. But that silence? It wasn't weakness. It was patience. Kara grinned. You turn rejection into the ultimate power move. I laughed.
No.
I turned it into a lesson for both of us. And just like that, I walked out of the ballroom, not with anger, not with revenge, but with something far stronger.
Dignity.
Self-worth. And peace. Because when you know your value, you don't need to prove anything. The world will figure it out, eventually.